To most people who hear about investing in Magic the Gathering, it sounds absolutely ludicrous. It sounds dumb. It sounds like it could be a scam, or it sounds like it is just a silly idea that nobody actually does. There's lots of reasons for this. One is that Magic the Gathering cards are cards for a game that presumably kids play, and of course some adults play it too, but it's just silly to imagine people buying game pieces, holding on to them, and then selling them for money. This isn't something normal people are exposed to or are aware of. It makes you think of Beanie Babies, right? It makes you think of these speculative frenzies or these bubbles that form in investor communities, and investors, a strong term, right? Where a lot of people get really excited about buying something because it's hype, and then they sell and make money, but they're just selling to the next fool who's willing to buy and pick up their heavy bags. There's no actual real end users. It is all just speculation and hype. This is how people feel about Magic the Gathering investing. And the question is, are they right? And, of course, my viewers on average are going to say like, no, of course that's wrong. Like, we are wise and incredibly intelligent investors who invest in only the best cardboard out there, which is Magic the Gathering, which I love you. But obviously, if you're thinking that way, I guess what I want to point out is that there's kind of two sides to the story, and neither side is just right. And so let's dive in. Let's figure out what's going on here. Go through some thought experiments and think about who's right. Is investing in Magic cards ridiculous and dumb, or is it smart and doesn't make sense? And so let's investigate it first from the is it dumb side. Let's just ask that question. Is it dumb? Is it dumb? Well, when you think of a dumb investment, you think of an investment that's just not going to make money. At least that's what I think of. I think a good definition for a dumb investment is I'm going to put my money into something and it's just not going to perform well. There's lots of examples like this. There's a lot of cryptocurrencies like this, for example. A lot of cryptocurrencies that you could have invested in that, to me, at least sound like a dumb investment because statistically and for the most part, they just lose money. And now I could be cherry picking. I wouldn't call Bitcoin a dumb investment, for example. And I think this analogy is like important because we'll be able to relate this to trading cards into Magic the Gathering here in a second. But I wouldn't say investing in Bitcoin is dumb. Bitcoin has been around for some amount of time and has proven itself to be something that real investors and real institutional money are interested in. And so, no, I don't think investing in Bitcoin is dumb. I think that you can get burned investing in Bitcoin. I think that there's lots of people who have no business investing in cryptocurrency, but they do anyway. Man, I have these friends who are just older people who heard on some radio show that you should invest in XYZ cryptocurrency, and they did. And then their money doubled or tripled. And I asked them, hey, when are you going to sell? And they're like, oh, we're not going to sell because it's going to double again. And it's like, man, dumb, but that's how it sounds to me. While people who are like really into the crypto scene might be like, no, actually that is really smart and they are doing the right thing. But that is kind of what I'm thinking of when I think of an investment is dumb. You don't really know what you're doing, and statistically you're just going to lose money. But if you're investing in something that is popular, well known, and relatively stable, then no, I don't think it's dumb. I don't think it's the best way to gain wealth in your life, but I wouldn't call it dumb. So let's think about this back to trading cards and Magic the Gathering. Is investing in Magic the Gathering dumb? Well, for a lot of people, it could be, right? If you have no idea what you're doing, if you just have money and you hop on eBay and you start buying cards, that could be very dumb. And I think it's dumb similar to how just buying cryptocurrencies in general could be dumb, or even buying Bitcoin if you don't know what you're doing could be dumb. Although buying Bitcoin is a lot safer than just buying random Magic cards. Let's talk about sealed boxes though. I mean, if you're buying sealed collector boxes, even at random, you're probably not going to do bad. And I guess this gets to the next point, and this is something I need to point out because quite a few viewers, quite a few comments, quite a few people don't understand the reality, which is that there has been a return on investment in sealed Magic the Gathering products, specifically specifically collector booster boxes, over the past 6 years. Here we're looking at the booster boxes that came out in 2020. This was 6 years ago. And there's the name. There is how much you could have bought it for at like MSRP or just the common store price at the time. There's what you could sell it for today. And then what you net after shipping and fees, what the gains are, and what that percent return would be year over year for 6 years. Oh, actually, this might not be. This isn't 6 years. This is overestimating. Let's go to a different example that's more correct. Let's look at 2023. Excuse me. We're looking at all these sets, all these collector booster boxes you could have bought. Dominaria Remastered, Phyrexia All Will Be One, March of the Machines, Aftermath, Lord of the Rings, Commander Masters, Wilds of Eldraine, Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Those who are, veterans of this space recognize those names and know, wow, you did really good if you bought those. Well, guess what? If you're just buying all of those in the year of our Lord 2023, you would have net year over year a 39.75% return yearly. That's after shipping and fees. 2024 to 2026, it would have been a 47.29% yearly return after shipping and fees. 23% if you just bought the collector boxes last year and you held on to them for like 6 months. 23.91% return. So let's just get something straight. People are making money buying, holding on to, and selling Magic the Gathering products. People are making money. I was skeptical too. I mean, when I started this YouTube channel, in my mind, there's just very, very few people like Rudy. And by that, I mean people who buy large amounts of product and just sit them on a shelf as a kind of investment piece. But people have reached out to me. And if you're more of these people, you should continue to reach out to me because I love seeing your stories and learning more about you. There are lots of people out there who are spending thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on Magic the Gathering and sticking it in a warehouse and letting time do its thing and letting value accumulate. And these people, I guess I can't speak for like all of their books and stuff like that, but the people who bought Phyrexia All Will Be One collector booster boxes back in 2023, they've gone up 60% over the last 3 years, year over year, 60%. It's pretty good. And that's after shipping and fees. And so, it's like, oh, but liquidity. Oh, but, who's going to buy the stuff? That's what the liquidity is referencing, is like, who's going to buy it? And that's a great question. But the answer to that is they do sell. I mean, we can take a look at these products. I can pull up Phyrexia All Will Be One. But there are buyers. These things do sell. And especially if you sell it below market. I mean, that's one of the things is that people are like, oh, these products are too expensive. People won't buy it. Okay, then sell it for less. Your product's already tripled in price. So what if you sell it at double the price? People are going to see that and say, whoa, that's way below market. That's a good deal, and buy it. And so, I'm just not too worried about these investors who have these big, bags when their gains have been so high that it really seems like it's not going to be too hard to sell. There's lots of game stores. There's lots of demand for these products. It's actually insane. And so the point being that, okay, sorry, I'm doing a lot of defending for the investors, but let's take a step back again. Will these things go up forever? Is this a great long-term, like 10, 20 year plus investment? We don't know. We don't know. The people who are saying, like, I know that my Magic investments are going to have like great 10-year plus returns, they don't know. And the people who say, I know that Magic is not going to grow in the next 10, 20, 30 years, it's just going to like decline, they don't know either. We don't know. This is brand new territory. For like mankind, this is brand new territory because Magic the Gathering has been around for 30 plus years and is the most successful trading card game IP in the, not like IP. I mean like the most successful game in the world being played and bought, money spent on. You know, you could argue like, oh, Pokemon is like better because there's all kinds of games. It's not just the trading card game, but it's also the video games and stuff like that. Yeah, sure. But Magic, as far as like a tabletop, social, physical game that you play with someone across the table from you, or I guess online or whatever, it is the most successful game in the world. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen to the game in 10 years and 20 years and 30 years? And people say like, oh, well, I know because chess was the most successful game once upon a time, and then something better came out and overthrew it. Yeah, we just don't know. We just don't know. You can come up with your theories. You can have evidence. You can have hypotheses for like, this is why I think Magic is going to be very successful 20 years from now. This is why I think it's not going to be successful 20 years from now. But we just don't know. And that's part of the reason why there's such gains to be made or gains to be lost, is that there's a risk premium on these things. The people who bought alpha and beta and unlimited Magic the Gathering products and held on to them sealed, they have made great money because that was uncharted territory. Nobody had this concept of like, oh, trading card games, like this is going to be worth a lot later, you know, like that wasn't a thing. People didn't know that a Black Lotus was going to be a valuable card. People weren't thinking about grading or condition or things like that. This is all new. This is all new. And now we're living in this new world where people know that trading cards have value. And that brings some risk to it as well, because now there's people collecting for the sole purpose. There's a lot of people collecting. I was talking about them for the sole purpose of reselling someday or growing a collection or whatever. And so what does that mean? What does that do? Does that mean there's going to be a glut of supply 20 years from now because of people that were holding on to this product all with the intention to sell? Or does it, like, will it never be enough? I mean, will people 20 years from now want Phyrexia all will be one collector booster boxes, right? Will that be something valuable that people want to hold on to as a special part of history with special powerful cards that you just cannot get a hold of in the year, 2046? We don't know. And so that's the point. And that's kind of the interesting takeaway, is that we just don't know. So recapping, for the people who are like, investing is dumb, there is money to be made. People are making money, and not just the long-term investing and stuff too, but short-term. I've had people comment on videos and they're like, get a real job. First off, this is not my job. Second off, if it was my job, it would be a real job. I'm providing value in exchange for money. What else would you call a job? Anyways, but yeah, people make good money selling Magic cards, buying products, selling products, providing that service into a market economy where there's people who are looking for goods and you provide those goods at a price that both parties agree on. That's a great job to have. And people make good money. A lot of people make good money. Isn't it crazy to think about? Because Wizards of the Coast employs people. They pay people to design cards and to do art and design sets and think about strategy. But then there's, thousands upon thousands of people that their job is just buying and selling Magic cards, or maybe buying and selling Magic cards along with Pokemon or One Piece or whatever. But a big part of their job is just Magic the Gathering cards. And it's incredible to imagine how many people are employed because of that. Anyway, so, and that is to make a point, which is just the dismissive nature of people who want to say like, oh, collectibles this is just stupid. It's ridiculous. It's dismissive. It's ignorant to pretend like there isn't something going on here that is valuable, that is cool, that is interesting, that has changed lives, and that is worth money. I could not disagree more with the people who are like, oh, it's going to zero. Oh, this is the last generation that's going to care about Magic, blah, 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 blah. Magic the Gathering is probably one of the most, like, if you could measure fun in a game, it's probably one of the most fun games on planet Earth. That's a huge moat. It's really hard to make the funnest game on Earth when Magic the Gathering already exists. And I know not everybody agrees with that, but like, honestly, if you know, you know. And then when it comes to the collectability aspect and the art aspect and the dynamics aspect, then you add in something like Universes Beyond and the people getting interested because of Final Fantasy, because of Marvel superheroes, because of whatever IP they're going to do next. It is, it's incredible. It's incredible. So do I think Magic's going to have serious value in the future? Yes, I do. I think prices will continue to rise. I think that product is getting scarce. I see Magic going the way of Pokemon, where every time something gets given to distribution, it just gets allocated out and dries up because there's just too much demand for Wizards to be able to print enough stuff to make up the product. It's a wild potential future we have ahead of us. Will it last forever? I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what the future it will hold. But what we can see is what's going on right now. And what's going on right now is millions, billions of dollars being cycled through an economy in what I would consider a healthy way. I guess maybe I can break that down a little bit real quick as this video continues to get longer and longer. But, you know, an unhealthy economy would be like the pump and dump, would be the bubble, right? The speculative bubble would be you wouldn't see end users. You would just see collectors selling to collectors, or I guess flippers, speculators selling to flippers and speculators. And so the question is, are there end users? And when you take a look at these products, there are. I've met them. Go to your local game store and just watch who buys what, and then watch what they do with it. They open it, and then they sell the cards back to the game store. There's people who every week spend hundreds of dollars on collector booster boxes from their local game store. So these collector booster boxes are marked up well above MSRP, and they buy them and they sit down and they open, and then they sell in the hits for store credit back to the store. There are thousands, tens of thousands of these people, and they are the backbone of the LGS system, and they're real. They're real. These end users, these, you know, collectors, enjoyers, players, they're real. And that's the difference between a bubble and something where there's genuine interest and lots of people genuinely interested. So is it dumb? Is it dumb to invest in Magic? I don't think so. There's an opportunity cost, right? If you have 10% of your discretionary income to invest and you put it all into Magic, well, there's an opportunity cost in the S&P 500. There's an opportunity cost in something even more stable, like money markets or government debts or whatever. You should know your options. But there's also downsides to the S&P 500. There's downsides to money markets. There's downsides to government debts. So, and the opportunity costs, at least for recent years, for collector boxes have been enormous. You have to be smart about it. You have to be tactical. You have to know, what stores or have the connections that will be able to buy your stuff when you need to sell it. But there's serious money to be made for people who are willing to buy Magic the Gathering products, sit on them for years. You can be savvy and flip them too, like quickly sell them and make money that way. But that's not what this video is about. This is about investing. Is investing dumb? And to that I say no. No, there's lots of reasons why it's not dumb. It can be dumb. You can invest like a fool in Magic the Gathering, just like you can invest like a fool in basically anything. But no, investing in Magic the Gathering is not dumb. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and please subscribe. That's the biggest thing. Subscribe. Thank you.